acknowledging that Montreal currently stands on unceded Indigenous lands. The Ganyangiaga Nation is recognized as the custodians of the lands and waters on which we gather today. So we hope you have all enjoyed this fantastic week with all the hard work that you guys have put in. Tonight, we are joined by participating teams, sponsors, judges, coaches, speakers, and everyone who has made this year's edition possible. So together with Victoria, our Director of Events, and Myra, our VP Partnerships, we'll be your hosts for tonight. For anyone who doesn't know, hi, my name is Jonathan. I'm the VP of Events for EngCom this year. Quickly, I just want to say how proud I am of all the teams who completed, and you should all be proud of your hard work as well. I'll now let Victoria and Myra introduce themselves.
Thanks, John. Hi, my name is Victoria, and I'm the Director of Event, and I'm excited to be hosting with Jonathan and Myra today. As for myself, I hope you enjoy your time with us, and I'll be excited to see you guys next year. And now I'll be giving the floor to our VP Partnership, Myra, to introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Myra. I'm the VP Partnerships at EngCom, and I'm super happy to be and honored to be part of this amazing committee that's been organizing this competition for the past year. We've been seeing a great success this whole week, and we're so proud of everyone here. Thank you.
Awesome. So thank you both. So to go over what is planned for the night, we have some speeches prepared for some of our guests and sponsors, as well as our presidents. This will be followed by the long-awaited moment of awards and a competition winner with a group photo to close off the ceremony. For now, our marketing team has prepared a short recap video of the week with the participating teams. We hope you all enjoy this small compilation of what happened throughout this amazing experience. Yeah. So also, I just want to give a special thanks to our diamond sponsor for this year. This is Certification Center Canada. And over here, we have a video presented to them. So amazing videos by the marketing team as always. Like I had previously mentioned, it was wonderful to meet the teams and get to know them throughout the week. This is across the events as well as the case solving. And thank you again from Certification Center Canada for being our diamond sponsor for this year. So I would now like to pass it over to Victoria, who will introduce our first guest speaker for tonight.
Thank you for the video. So now I'd like to welcome today's guest, a master and a doctorate in building engineering from Concordia University, the first woman awarded a PhD in building engineering at Concordia, She has more than 30 years of professional practice in the private sector as the professional engineering, a retired CEO and owner of CCI Group, which is now operating as Macintosh Pairing Consultant Engineers. Under her leadership, this company was named the most profitable company owned by women by Profit Magazine in 2010. Engineering and business leader who is currently a member of Board of Governors, the Governors Committee, and chair of the Real Estate Planning Committee and Industrial Advisory Council of Concordia University. Among her many careers, accolades as an Honor of Merit from Canadian Standards Association and the Honor of Honors at the officer level from the Professional Engineering of Ontario. She was named the Alumni of the Year by the Concordia University Alumni Associate in 2011 and the Great Concordian in 2014. As the top 25 women of influence in Canada, the Montreal Massacre motivated her to contribute to Canada's inspiration to a women-friendly School of Engineering and Commerce Science. 50% of her contribution is dedicated to equity, diversity, and inclusion initiatives, and particularly undergrad and graduate scholarship for women and research chairs dedicated to women. On September 24, 2018, in recognition of her historical gift of $15 million to Concordia University Faculty of Engineering and Commerce Science and her achievement in the field, the faculty was renamed to the Gina Cody School of Engineering and Computer Science. It is the first university engineering faculty in Canada to be named after women. Please help me in welcoming a vocal advocate for equity, diversity, and inclusion in STEM fields, Dr. Gina Cody.
Thank you. Thank you, Victoria, for your kind introduction. It's such a great pleasure to be back at ENGCOM again this year. I hope all of you enjoyed the competition. This event is especially meaningful to me because it focuses on the two pillars of my own career, as Victoria mentioned, engineering and business. While my schooling focused on engineering and more specifically building engineering, much of my career was as the president of a major engineering firm. Engineering and commerce, along with medicine, represents the foundations of human progress and civilization. For thousands of years, these fields evolved separately, though they were mutually beneficial. The building of a stone-paved road, such as those built by the Roman Empire, were invaluable for moving trade goods across large distances. Aqueducts brought clean water for hygiene to towns and hospitals, while sewer systems helped reduce the spread of disease in urban centers. Since the first Industrial Revolution, these fields grow intrinsically linked. Today, you cannot achieve success without interdisciplinary cooperation. For example, modern medicine would not exist without biomedical engineering. And the tech industry is inseparable from both engineering and commerce. Now, with the arrival of the fourth industrial revolution, bridging the gaps between commerce and engineering has never been more important. And ENGCOM represents one of these critical bridges. Competitions like these are wonderful because they are full of opportunities to take chances, to experiment, and possibly fail. Society has ingrained in us this idea that success is good and failure is bad. If you take one thing away from this conversation this evening, make it this: failure is just as important as success. I will say it again. Failure is just as important as success. Failure is the best teacher we have. When we succeed, we rarely go back and try to better understand why everything went right. Instead, we celebrate, and our ego grows just a little larger. And that's okay. Success is important for our self-confidence. However, failure is how we learn. Failure is how we grow resilient. Failure is how we build perseverance. And yet, most of us take failure personally. We think that when we fail, it makes us a failure. If that was true, we would all be failures. We would have no success stories. We can become so afraid of making mistakes that we avoid challenging ourselves. We stick to the beaten path instead of exploring and discovering. Every meaningful discovery and invention happened because somebody took a chance. Somebody decided that they were going to do something differently than what had been done by everyone else before them. That takes courage. It takes being willing to fail, even multiple times. So we all need to change our relationship to failure. We need to see failure as an opportunity for learning and not as a confirmation that we are not good enough. As Ralph Waldo Emerson once said, every artist was first an amateur. As you learn from your mistakes, you will make fewer of them. Every inch of your path forward prepares you for the next challenges. As you advance in your career, the responsibilities and consequences get bigger. You need to leave these experiences before you are ready to take the next step. This will allow you to build a solid foundation for your career and your life. That being said, I do have some advice on how to succeed. 8 tips that have served me well during my career, and I would like to share them with you. Hopefully, some of these can help you. First, actively pursue knowledge. Knowledge is the most important tool you can have. Accumulate knowledge through higher education from your peers and mentors. Second, be honest. Develop a reputation for being honest and trustworthy. Be honest to others. And just as importantly, be honest to yourself. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Admit when you don't know something. Third, be humble. Avoid boasting. In good companies, if you work hard, your work will speak for itself. Be generous with giving credit to others and quick to admit your own mistakes. Fourth, be open and allow criticism. Use criticism to learn and grow. Much like failure, criticism has a bad reputation, but it can be very useful if we are open to it. Number 5, be self-aware. Self-awareness is a necessary trait for a good leader and a good employee. It will build your confidence, will enhance your work performance, and help you develop stronger relationships. Be honest about your weaknesses and your strength. And number 6, as Oscar Wilde famously said, be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Being yourself and being authentic doesn't mean you shouldn't compromise or be diplomatic. Dealing with different personality is a big part of working in a team. But don't waste your energy being upset about things you cannot control. Focus on what you can do. Focus on delivering your projects and tasks. And perhaps most importantly, focus on doing things the way only you can. 7, be a good listener. There is a time to speak and a time to listen. Learn how to understand what time it is. I forget who said this, but I saw this in an article and I really liked it. Before speaking in a meeting, ask yourself the following questions. Does this need to be said? Does this need to be said by me? Does this need to be said by me now? The last one, number 8, and the most important one. Be kind. I cannot emphasize this enough. Underlying all your actions, be kind and respectful of others. Never refer to yourself as I. Use we instead. Every project and every success in a company is a team effort. Speak to the most junior member of a company the same way you speak to the CEO. Understand that everyone is working hard and is stressed. We all have personal lives and we are all human. Everyone makes mistakes. No one is perfect. Listen and be empathetic. Studies show that colleagues who care for each other are happier, and happy employees are more productive. Of course, some people achieve financial success by being callous and cruel. But financial success without happiness is not success. You will find much more joy in your life if you are surrounded at work by people who care for and respect you. I hope some of these tips resonated with you. As I mentioned earlier, engineering and commerce are pillars of civilization, and that has never been more true than today. The fourth industrial revolution relies on highly technical skills and knowledge. It relies on the skills and knowledge that you are learning. The world needs you more than ever. We are at an important crossroad in human history. As future engineers and business leaders, what you do in your professional lives will have a big impact on our collective future. I urge you to take this responsibility seriously. You all have a different relationship to technology. Different groups use and have access to technology in very different ways. Technology can connect, bridge divides, and open new lines of communication. This event is a great example of this. But technology can also restrict, marginalize, and censor. It can create echo chambers and silos of thoughts and ideas. You aren't just designers and creators. You are curators. What you choose to focus on will have an impact on how our society will look, feel, and sound. Consider how your work will affect others, not just the majority, but what about people with disabilities? What about the elderly? What about the underprivileged? Don't underestimate the importance and significance of your role. We still have a long way to go before having a truly equal, diverse, and inclusive society. As the famous Persian poet Rumi said, "You're not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean in a drop." What you do in your life matters, and it helps clear the way for those coming after you. Thanks for having me, and have a great night. Bonsoir.
Thank you for your speech, and we really appreciate the tips and having you with us. I would like to let you know that the floor is now open for questions. So if you have any questions, you can either write it in the chat or raise your hand with the Zoom feature, and we'll call on you to ask your question. Our VP of Events, Jonathan, will now take over the Q&A period. Thank you.
Yep. So like Victoria had mentioned, the floor is open to questions, and we have allocated 15 minutes. So if you have any questions for Dr. Cody, please feel free to ask them in the chat or unmute yourself.
Okay, I see Joseph has.
Yes. Hi, Dr. Gina Cody. Thank you so much for the speech. It was really amazing. I had a quick question. What are some of the biggest challenges you've faced throughout your career?
There are many challenges when you are working. The challenges changes its shape and form. But I would say the biggest challenge for me was being the only woman in the room all the time. That was the challenge I faced. And that's why I'm so committed on promoting more women into engineering. The time has changed. I started, I'm old, so I've been around for a long time, and I'm talking over 40 years. So that has been my challenge of trying to be the only woman in the room. And I want to give you an advice, and it may be a cliche, but you can turn a negative to a positive. So because I was the only woman in the room, I knew everybody would notice me, but I was always prepared and I was at ease with it. And one of the things that I always knew, that for me to be accepted as an equal to my male colleagues, I had to be better than them. So I had to work harder. So I did that. But the advantage it gave me was everybody remembered me. So that it worked for me, because then everybody knew who Gina was. So that was the positive side of being the only woman. So I didn't focus on that. I tried to take advantage of it. So the challenges of life, what I want to show you, and believe you me, every challenge in your career, at the time, it may be tough, but it really gives you the strength to be stronger, and you come up with solutions, and that solution makes your businesses stronger. So when I have gone through many recessions through my career and my business. I remember there was a month that our payroll was more than our invoice figure. Never mind, like we were just so much, like we were losing money. But what that taught us was how to change the business, how to make it more profitable, and not profit for the sake of profit, rather than bringing new opportunities to business. So you're always, these challenges help you, and you build a new avenue to your business, and your business gets more successful because you added things that you didn't even think of prior to that challenge. So the challenges are really good. The same thing as failures. To me, challenges gives you the advantage to be better and to do better. So those challenges are good. Don't take them lightly. They are there to help you to be a better business person.
Yeah, that was a wonderful response. I hope that answered your question, Joseph.
Yes, thank you so much for the response. It was great.
Thank you.
We do have another question in chat. So this one's from actually our president of ENCHCON. So hi, Dr. Gina Cody, amazing presentation, extremely inspiring. What kept you motivated to try and keep succeeding?
Okay, that may not sound good, but I'm very competitive and perfectionist. I'm not sure that's a good thing. Perfectionism is really not good, but I was who I was. So I think I was very hard on myself. I used to say, I don't need anybody to tell me I made a mistake, because I would really be hard on Gina. Why did you do that? Why did you say that? And something I had fear. All my life I had fear. From the childhood, I had fear. Fear of not getting a good mark, fear of saying the wrong things, fear of not doing the right thing. But fear is not a bad thing. And I want to tell all of you, fear is it's not a good thing, but it's a necessity. Because when you have fear, you double check things. You make sure that you do things right. But what you need is courage. Courage is not having fear. Courage is having fear, but finding a way around it and overcoming that fear. So if you can take this with you, have courage. And if you have fear, don't worry about that, but don't be hard on yourself. I really don't. Sometimes I don't forgive myself. I say, why were you so hard on yourself, Gina? It's life is hard enough. But probably if I wasn't hard on myself, I wouldn't have worked as hard and succeeded the same way. So hindsight is 2020. I'm trying to be honest with all of you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you again. We have two more questions. I will take the one in chat first. This one's from Christina. Hi, great presentation. My question is, when you get discouraged, what do you do to persevere?
Okay, I don't get discouraged. When something happens, it gives me energy. I consider it, as Joseph mentioned, as a challenge. So don't ever get discouraged. Discouraged means that you have accepted failure, and you don't. You guys wouldn't be in this competition if you would have accepted failure. No way. I know every one of you tonight here are the person who will persevere. So don't give up. I never gave up, and I still don't give up. If you are wrong, definitely accept you're wrong and carry on and find the right way. And we all make mistakes. I have been wrong many times. So there's nothing wrong by being wrong. You just learn. But I wouldn't get discouraged. And I would never want any of you to be discouraged. Don't let that take over you. You're better than that.
It's a wonderful response. Thank you again, Dr. Cody. We have a question from actually one of our participating teams, Crossroads Consulting.
Thank you. My name is Will Jeffries, and thank you again for the amazing speech. I was curious to hear your insights, especially with regards to bridging across to culture and community, because as you said, engineering and business leads and touches on so much in our world. And I was curious to hear your insight on how to bridge the gap sometimes that occurs between that and the communities that we serve and the cultures within those.
I think the gaps are created because we want them to be there. There shouldn't be a gap. The gaps are created by people who divide themselves. So if we reach out, if we are willing to accept everyone, then the gaps are not there. You know, I give a lot of talks about when people unconscious biases that every one of us has. Regardless of who we are, we all have unconscious bias, and it happens constantly based on our experiences. But if we are aware of our issues, I think we overcome them. And to close the gap between communities, between the cultures, is something that we have to be willing to accept, that every culture is there for a reason. And the minute you accept the other cultures and you're willing to not differentiate, don't consider yours better than them. There is greatness in every one of them, and there is badness in every one of them. So concentrate on the greatness of those cultures, then you will accept them. But the minute you pick on the things that you don't like about that, you have created the gap. So to overcome the gaps, first, I want you to focus on your own unconscious biases. The minute you overcome your unconscious biases and your group and your people overcomes that, then the gaps are closed. And something that I cannot encourage you more, if you see or you are at a place that you see people saying things that are prejudiced, racist, are inappropriate, speak up. Doesn't matter who they are. And don't speak up just for your friends. I always say women are not, for example, women, we are not in men's locker room. So when somebody in that locker room sends derogatory terms regarding a woman, speak up. Don't let that go by, because as you let go by of issues, they become predominant. So each one of us have a responsibility to withstand for and be strong about our belief and respond to those who are really don't respect other cultures and other communities. So together, I think we can overcome that. And if we see differences, speak up. So I think the gap will be closed. I hope I answered it. It's a kind of a round way around it.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we do have two more questions. These will be the last questions for the Q&A period. I will take the one from the chat, and then I believe we also have one from Aiden. So I'll read the first message. So hi, Gina. So very inspiring to hear a message to this next generation of leaders. Can you share your approach and insights to building performing teams?
I think the 8 tips that I gave you was really for making your team. Because if you are open, if your door is all, especially if you're a leader, like my office door was always open and everybody knew, didn't matter what was their position, the door is open for them to drop by. And I learned from them. It helped me to grow my business, because if there is something going wrong and nobody is telling you, then you don't know how to fix it. So by being part of a team and being open with your team to bring in suggestions, to bring in improvement, then your team will be more successful. But if you kind of close that gap between yourself and your team, you will have definitely problems succeeding. So I think for me, the best way to building the best performing teams is those 8 tips of being cooperative and giving credit and working hard together. That will be inspiring to them, and they have to feel that you're giving them strength, you have their back, and you are giving them credit when they do something good.
Thank you very much, Dr. Cody. So I will take the last question, and this one is from Aiden.
Hi, just to finish on a more one sec there. No, Lord, just turn it off. Sorry, one sec. Just
Yeah, I think if they put the other one in me. Very good.
We're all in the same room together here. So just to finish off a more personal question, I'd love to know, what was your most proud or your proudest moment in the industry so far?
Good question. I would say naming the school after me. And it wasn't about me. And I keep saying that it was not about me. I really care less about my name. It was having an faculty of engineering computer science named after a woman, because as I said earlier, I was the only woman in the room for so many years. I wanted women to feel strength to be part of this industry, because we are in the 4th industrial revolution. If women don't get into the STEM fields, they're going to be left further behind. So we need to encourage women to get into this. And not only because I want women, it's good for Canada. And I give entire talks about this whole issue, because if women don't get into technology and build things and change things, the world would be made by men for men. And there's hundreds and thousands of examples that why women need to get into the engineering and computer science. For example, the car safety features are made by men for men. The mannequins that are used in crash tests are based on average size men. So when women get into accident, they're 50% more likely to have major incidents of being injured. And in minor accidents, 70% more. My God, these are huge numbers. And the reason wasn't that people who were making these cars were mean to women. It was just, they were all men, and they said, okay, how do we make these crash test dummies? How do we do the airbag system? They're all made for men. It's average size of men. I am short. So if I'm in a car accident, I'm going to definitely be part of that 70%. So we need to be cognizant of that and change that. And the examples goes on and on and on. There's many examples of this. So to answer your question in a long way is trying to encourage women. And that has been my mission since 2016 that I sold my company and retired. I constantly give talks about women getting into the STEM field. And another reason is we are short of engineers. We are going to be short. If Canada doesn't bring more women into engineering and computer science, Canada will be left behind. So it's good for our country. It's good for our society because we will build things by people who are participating. And if we think that we can bring engineers from abroad, all the other countries are also during a fourth industrial revolution need their own engineers. So there's going to be less and less immigration of engineers to Canada. So we need to bring women into that field. And we, at the present time, we only have 20%, and computer science is much less. And other simple is also fields are low. So my most important part of my life has been just encouraging women, and hopefully we will get more, and we'll get there. We're on the right track. I'm hopeful.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
So thank you for your response, Dr. Cody, again. So this does end the Q&A period for now. Thank you all for your wonderful questions, but a huge, huge, huge thank you for Dr. Cody. It was an amazing, phenomenal, and a beautiful speech that was given. I truly took it to heart. I'm sure many others did as well. It was honestly one of the best speeches I've heard, and I'm very, very, very glad to have you here tonight with us. So thank you again, Dr. Gina Cody.
Thank you for having me. It was wonderful having the moment and answering questions, and hopefully I get to see all of you in person soon.
Yes, for sure. That is definitely the plan. So thank you very much, Dr. Cody. So I would now like to give the floor to Myra, who will be presenting our second guest speaker for the night.
Thank you, Jonathan. So I would like to introduce Dennis Kelly, a member of our sponsor, ESB. So Dennis has over 30 years of experience working with ESB in a wide range of engineering, IT, and people development roles. He works closely with senior leaders and managers developing engineering and technical capabilities in business areas. He founded the ESB Intercolleges Challenge, a partner event to ENGCOM, over 7 years ago. ESB continues to sponsor the winning team from this event to compete at ENGCOM annually. So Dennis, I would like to give the floor to you.
Thank you very much, Maria. Very much appreciated speaking here tonight. It's wonderful to be back with ENGCOM. I just have to echo your comments again around Gina. Gina was an absolutely fantastic presentation. It was very inspiring, and the honesty of it was just brilliant. It's the kind of honesty that people need. And when you quoted Oscar Wilde, it came to me. What came to mind to me was the quote, "Be yourself and be your best." And I would say, Gina, you epitomize that for me. So fantastic presentation. Thank you very, very much for your presentation. ESB has been a proud sponsor and collaborator with ENGCOM for quite a number of years. I think it's nearly 6 years at this stage, 5 to 6 years. It has been a very productive and very pleasing relationship we've had. It's worked very well for both groups. As Maria was saying, we sponsor a team to compete each year in ENGCOM, and this year we sponsor 2 teams. So we're delighted that we're here. This is a world-class event, and very much as Gina was saying, it's a combination of commerce and engineering that really makes this event special. And as as a developer of engineers, I look for both people to have both commercial, financial, and technical ability. And so this competition for us, and we run it exactly the same format in Ireland, where we have both an engineering and a commerce element to the competition. And when you go out into business and work, this is what will happen. You can have great ideas, but if they don't ultimately return the company some investment, whether it's in financial terms or other terms, then you won't do it. And I say to many young engineers, would you do this job if I paid you nothing? And nearly everybody says no. So I say we need to make money to grow and develop our products and services. So this is why this competition for me is very, very good. Again, as young graduates, this is give you an experience working on very real projects. None of the cases are all based on reality. So if you can do it on a case, you should be able to sell yourself really, really well at interview. So I would echo very much the comments and advice that Jean has given. And the other little point I would add, maybe she's covered it already, is take a risk. Don't be afraid. Get out there, take a chance, come up with a new idea, press your idea, and see can you make it stick. Really, really important. For me, I suppose it's kind of a bittersweet this evening. This is will be my last year working with Engcom. I'll be handing over the baton to my successor, and again, Gina might like this. It's a woman engineer who will be taking over my role as an engineering development manager. I can't announce her name as yet, but she's a fine engineer and really, really effective operator. So I'm looking forward to seeing her in the role. It's interesting, and just reflecting back on my time with Engcom has been really has been a fantastic experience. I worked very closely with Rui Lopez. I don't know if Rui's here this evening, but he made some fantastic contributions to the development of the competition throughout the time I've been working with him. He's absolutely brilliant contributor, and if he is here, I just want to say to you, I really like your photograph on the website. It's really cool. And goes with his personality. Two other people I'd really like to call out as well is Mary Perry and Audrey Landry, who over the years I've been on the competition have actually contributed hugely to the success and steered it through many stages of development. And that's really important, that we have that continuity and it continues to improve. And in the years I've been involved with it, it has improved very, very significantly. And fair play, you've stood up very well as also to the online element. We've done it in Ireland. It is demanding format online, and for the team to have competed, well done. I'd also like to call out Phil Cole, who I know is here this evening. Phil and myself had some really good fun on the early days, or when my days in Engcom with Rui, and again that was really well worthwhile. To the executive team, you've done a really good job this year. It is demanding online, but most certainly as a sponsor, I really value the great support you've given me and the interactions. So thank you very much for that. Two other groups that are really important, the coaches. And I've said this anytime I've ever spoken at Engcom, coaches are really, really important, both in our own competition and this competition. You give continuity and you give, you develop the teams, you bring them along, and you're the flag carriers for this competition in your own universities. And your role is extremely important. Without you, the competition would die. So please continue to provide your support to the teams who've competed. I've seen the final three, really interesting ideas, very, very well presented to a very high standard. And when I say that this is a world-class competition, I'm serious. I've done a lot of research in these kind of case competitions. This is definitely a world-class competition. So what advice would I give the teams? Be innovative and keep open minds, because when you do that, you come up with really, really good ideas. And we've actually taken ideas from the teams who have competed in Ireland, and we've actually developed those ideas further, and it's been really, really good to get just a completely different view of life. ESB is proud to be able to sponsor two specific awards that we awarded later this evening for the best international team and the best national team. We're really, really proud we can do that, and we've done that over a few years. It's important to mark that, I think, and also to encourage more international teams to come along and join the event. So just in closing off, two quick things. One thing is I just like to say to people, please keep in mind the people who are Ukraine this evening, who are going through some very, very difficult times. We've all seen it on the TV, so let's keep them in our minds. And to close off, I use some of my national language, and I suppose I'm just looking at some of my Irish colleagues, and maybe they'll spot the grammatical errors. But let's give it a try. Accorda sesiún on táftach agus crack e gacéine gurv míle mahagut slán agus banach. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dennis, for your words. ESB has been a long-time sponsor of ours, and we're more than honored to have you guys every year. And we wish you all the best in retirement as well. It'd be very sad to be seeing you leave, but we're more than happy to welcome the new members. I would like to hand over. Thank you. I would like to hand over the floor to Jonathan.
Yeah, so once again, thank you, Myra, and also Dennis for your kind words. It's sad to hear that you're no longer participating directly with ENGCOM, but you know, it was a wonderful time having you here, and we look forward to the new representative. So actually for our third speaker, we have someone who has been with ENGCOM also for a while now. He's spoken before, mentioned before. He was a boards of director member, and he's participated in this year's ENGCOM edition by becoming the diamond sponsor for this year. He's currently a VP in business development for Maravint and is responsible for front-end business activities. Since that date, he's also taken up roles of VP Business Development for Maravint's Advanced Aerospace Solutions joint venture. So this also includes sales, business development, and contracts. So he's been in the aerospace and defense industry for 30 years, graduating from Brighton University in England with a degree in electrical and electronics engineering in 1986. So representing from Certification Center Canada, give a warm welcome for Phil Cole.
Thanks very much indeed, Jonathan. And guys, don't panic. I am sharing my screen. Let's just start a slideshow if I can get there. This is where I wish I. Damn it. All right. Well, apparently it's not going to share very well. Hang on a second, guys. I'm sorry. Let's get this going.
Oh, we were seeing your screen.
Yeah, I couldn't get to the slideshow. I couldn't actually turn the slideshow on. It'll work this time round. There we go. Right. And you can't see my screen now. Goodness gracious me. All right, guys, I'm sorry about this technical. So while I'm struggling around showing how technically incompetent I am, I'd like to acknowledge Dennis. Dennis, we have not seen the last of you. I'm pretty sure of that. He's like a proverbial bad penny. He just shows up whenever he feels like it in all of the most inopportune times. And I'd also like to commend Gina on yet another wonderful speech. I'm unfortunate enough to have had to speak after Gina on more than one occasion. It's a pretty daunting task because she's so good at this stuff. But I will give it a college try and do my best and see how we go. So my name's Phil Cole. As Jonathan said, I look after business development at Certification Center Canada. I am an electrical electronics engineer originally. But I moved over onto the business side of aerospace quite a long time ago now, almost 40 years, Jonathan. I lied to you when I said it was 30. Albeit, even now, I still have a foot in both the technical and business camps on pretty much a daily basis. I'm really happy to be back here again this year after a one-year hiatus. It seems an awful lot longer than that. This competition really does get under your skin. So I'm delighted to be back in here, and this will not be the last year. We'll be back again next year for sure. It's obviously a great shame that we couldn't do this in person this year. I really do enjoy the getting to meet people physically and chat with them over a beer or a shandy or whatever it is. But as far as virtual events go, I think the team have done an absolutely fantastic job. I'm not generally a huge fan of virtual events, but this has gone really, really well as far as I'm concerned. So thanks to the ENGCOM team for putting it together and doing such a great job. And thanks to the hardworking board members. Dennis gave them some kudos earlier. They're all fantastic people. It takes quite a long time. You know, the competition is much better as a result of having the good active board on board. So I hope at the end of this mercifully short talk this evening, you'll all realize a couple of things. The final case that you all say solved was challenging. That's the first thing. The second thing is that it was very real. The problems that we discussed are really some of the things that the aerospace sector is dealing with today. And this is good for you, and it's good for the planet as well. And hopefully I'll explain a little bit why during the course of this talk. So the theme of the discussion this evening is opportunities. But before we get there, I thought I'd start with a slide that maybe for some of you kind of encapsulates your view of what aerospace industry is all about. So you may think, for instance, that the aerospace industry is full of white, middle-aged, at best, men, like the two reprobates on the screen here. The guy in the top left is actually my boss. So I haven't singled out some random person from the public and thrown them up on this slide and called them old. It's my boss, and he knows I said that. You may also think that it's an industry that's really conservative, moving at kind of a snail's pace, swimming through technology treacle. An industry that creates vehicles that contribute to polluting the planet, full of jobs that are dirty and greasy and hands-on and mechanical in nature. An industry that's seen little really in the way of radical change over the last several decades. But it's also an industry that results in wonderful, groundbreaking platforms like the one in the top right of the slide here, the C-Series that Bombardier created, and now, of course, rechristened the Airbus A220, that carry passengers and goods around the world. Now, if you do have any of the misconceptions that I mentioned before, I really don't blame you. The truth is that the aerospace industry as a whole has not done a particularly good job at presenting a different image to young people. But that has to change. We need more young people, more than we've ever needed them before. Okay, so you forced me to sit through some slides that looked a bit like this during the case solving competition. So, but I do apologize for putting one up that looks a little bit like that. I'll move on as quickly as I possibly can. I've been in this industry for nearly 40 years, as I said before. I've worked on 3 different continents and in 6 different countries since my career began. I've worked for 7 different companies, 12 if you include the name changes that came as a result of acquisition. I've lost a lot of hair, really have, and I've seen a great deal in that time. But the Canadian aerospace numbers never cease to amaze me. They're absolutely incredible. Did you know that, for instance, the aerospace industry is one of Canada's most significant sectors? It has a huge impact on the Canadian economy, with a GDP contribution that's in excess of $20 billion a year, even after the pandemic. Before the pandemic, it was 30 billion. Despite the pandemic, it still employs more than 200,000 people in the country, and it has a 3 times higher R&D intensity than any other manufacturing industry in this country. And that means reinvestment into the companies, of course. It's also an industry that's geographically spread right across the entire country. So it's incredibly important to Canada, but how does it measure up globally? Well, Canada is #1 for civil flight simulators and training. It's #1 for turboprop and helicopter engines, and #3 for turbofan engines. In fact, when you look at all of the different rating categories for aerospace industry globally, Canada is in the top 5 for every single one. It's pretty impressive, I think. I'd encourage you to think of aerospace not as an isolated sector, but rather as part of a global multimodal transportation system. It's an industry that truthfully impacts every person in all aspects of their lives, whether they realize it or they don't. It impacts every business, regardless of which sector the business is in. It helps keep us all safe. Think of police, search and rescue, emergency response, border protection, firefighting. It helps enable the entire global economy. How could you conceive of a global economy without one of the main pieces of glue that holds it all together? It's what enables most travel opportunities, whether for business or for pleasure, and it opens up a world of possibilities for international students and migration. The plain truth is that it's a fundamental enabler of modern life in a modern country. If you don't believe me, just try and imagine your life without aerospace. It's pretty difficult. But what about the planet? I hear you scream. Well, for sure, climate change is the single biggest global problem we must all deal with. And it will be for the foreseeable future, or in fact, for any future at all. To my way of thinking as a problem solver, we really only have two basic options. Either we change our entire economy to adapt to less of everything, or we find ways to do more with less. In the end, it's a no-brainer. There really isn't a choice. Humans, especially as they become wealthier, want to travel more. That's just a fact. But whether we do with technology to reduce our carbon footprint, that positive impact is being dramatically outpaced by passenger growth demand. That means that we as an industry need to act more profoundly, more rapidly, and more internationally. We need to react on parallel fronts if we're trying and move the needle in the right direction. Fuel efficiency has been a constant goal of the aerospace sector for a very long time because more fuel efficient aircraft platforms are more attractive competitively because they're cheaper to operate. But the pandemic has provided new impetus to accelerate these changes, this time to protect our planet. At this moment in time, emissions reduction is the only place where R&D money is being invested in aerospace, giving rise to an absolutely quantum disruption in absolutely everything we do. And this disruption creates opportunities. COP26 in Glasgow in November 2021 was a really big deal for the aerospace industry globally. Aerospace companies and organizations quickly embraced net carbon neutrality by 2050 or earlier. This has dramatically changed our industry, and there's even more dramatic changes to come. But the changes will be very challenging without the industry changing as well. Remember that swimming through technology treacle from earlier in the presentation? It requires us to find different and much quicker ways to innovate and to embrace the innovations we need. But we have to accelerate while maintaining safety, and these two things are currently in opposition most of the time. In addition to the drive towards net neutral technologies, aerospace concepts and operating models are also changing dramatically. Today, aerospace encompasses not only the more traditional platforms like the A220 we showed earlier, but all of these platforms too. Every week, it seems that there's a new one of these things emerging around the world somewhere. And these platforms embrace interesting technologies. They represent significantly different operating models from those we're used to, and they also represent completely different pricing model. What I mean by that is how much an airplane actually costs or an aircraft actually costs. If we don't get the cost per platform for these types of vehicles down at least by an order of magnitude from what a current civil aircraft, passenger aircraft costs us, all of the business models that these things are based on do not work. These platforms embrace green propulsion. Of course they do. They embrace new materials and new processes. And they are full of software, including artificial intelligence and machine learning techniques galore. There's some interesting faces. 10 years ago, I would never have imagined I would put a slide up like this with these people's faces on talking about the aerospace industry, with the possible exception of Richard Branson because of his connection with Virgin Atlantic. But the new aerospace paradigm that we're talking now brings investors and entrepreneurs from all over the place. All of these people on this slide, so Larry Page, Jeff Bezos, Richard Branson, Elon Musk, along with many others, they're all investing in this new technology, in this new aerospace paradigm. We, in fact, at our company have been working with some of them now for several years, and it's been an absolute eye-opener. There's no question that these guys have vision and they have access to money, but you have to take a ton of grains of salt when you try and start to believe what you see in the press about the realism of the timeframes that these guys are spouting for deployment of these platforms. Much of what you hear and see and read is strictly for the consumption of other investors, and it's got little grounding in reality. And this is a problem, but it's also an opportunity. There's a theme going on here somewhere. What we do as a company is try and help these companies avoid making crazy, risky, uninformed design mistakes. And it works. At least some of the time it works. There's also many car companies that are playing visibly in this space too, and many more behind the scenes. And household names like Intel and Tencent are also involved. To put it in perspective, there are more than 300 platform development programs of these types of vehicles underway currently around the world, with hundreds of billions of dollars investment from non-traditional sources. But the problem is that 10 years from now, only a handful of those will remain globally. And we're already beginning to start to see this effect happening. And that's because reality is starting to apply itself to some of these programs in terms of the real timeframes that are involved. And a lot of the early investors are beginning to lose the will to live. This trend will continue a little bit. The trick for our company is, as far as being entirely reputation-based, is to be involved with the programs that are actually in it for the long haul, that are likely to succeed, that are being realistic about their plans and the timeframe for deployment. And that's a challenge. All right, chocolate teapot. So just before I talk about this, in case anybody doesn't get it, a chocolate teapot doesn't work very well. You pour hot water into it, it melts. Okay, so now I've explained that. We love in our industry to talk about technology as a thing in and of itself. Not just our industry, actually. We love as a country to talk about technology as a thing. But the truth is, unless we connect technology with a market and with things that it needs to succeed, in our particular case, unless we connect these vehicles with the services and existing infrastructure like roads and rail and port and people and goods, all we will have created at the end of the day is a chocolate teapot. Another solution looking for a problem or another failed business plan. What this means is that the people that are planning cities and towns now need to be involved in the aerospace transformation now. And since infrastructure projects take years to evolve and billions of dollars of investment, just like aerospace projects do, they have to evolve in parallel and in harmony, or we'll miss the enormous opportunity we have collectively. Bus companies, rail networks, port authorities, airport operators, taxi companies, haulage firms, the list goes on and on and on. All of these people must be involved and be an integral part of the evolution of a transportation solution that is multimodal. Cross-sectorial transformation that must happen if we're to succeed is why governments must also be part of this process, and they have to drink the same Kool-Aid as us. On top of that, the whole national airspace system must also adapt to this radical change. I mean, how do hundreds of small, possibly autonomous or semi-autonomous vehicles share airspace safely with passenger aircraft? It's a monumentally difficult problem today, believe me. But despite the need for urgent change, what will happen is a considered, safe, steady approach, nothing revolutionary. For sure, it will involve new AI, ML-enabled technologies and systems that have been specifically engineered and tested for the aerospace sector to be safe. But all of this takes time, it takes evidence, it takes security and trust, and it takes data. All of these challenges are being dealt with now. So I tell you that aerospace today is not like the industry I characterized at the beginning. Far from it. It's diverse, inclusive, and exciting. It needs every sector of the community to be part of it. It needs young people, old people, people from different nationalities. It's dynamic, it's fun, it's data-driven, it's challenging and futuristic and transformative. It's high profile, it's planetary, and it's green. In short, aerospace is a place to shape the future for absolutely everybody on this planet. Even without this transformation, the aerospace industry relies on almost every skill and trade you can imagine. And with this transformation, it's even more true. Almost every different type of qualification, from school leavers through PhD, our industry needs new, young, enthusiastic leaders. It needs you, it needs your friends, and it needs their friends too. This is a place that has space and opportunity for you and your career to continuously evolve. I've been in aerospace now since before I was born, and I mean that quite literally. My grandfather and father were both in aerospace before. But 2022 is the best time that I can remember to join the sector. We need thousands of enthusiastic new employees today in Canada alone. This gives you even more agency than you've had before as you look to join this industry. It gives you the opportunity to create the career that you want. Please help me look like the minority of aerospace professionals 10 years from now. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you very much, Phil. It was a much informative presentation. I honestly did learn a lot. There's a lot of things I didn't know as well, and it was just very nice to learn the different qualities that are presented in, and just know that it's not just aerospace engineering. Let's say it takes in a lot more people in different fields to really get that stuff working. So
Pleasure, John.
I just want to thank you again for joining us tonight, and thank you for joining our recruitment and networking events this past week. We loved seeing you, and we look forward to your next future moments with us here at ENGCOM.
Thank you.
So here at ENGCOM, right now, it would not have been possible without our wonderful executive team. Within this executive team, we have had two amazing leaders that guided us to creating such a successful event throughout the week. I'm evidently speaking about both our presidents, Gabrielle Galland and Jeffrey Chan. Give a hand for both President and Executive Vice President, who will now share some words about ENGCOM 2022.
Thank you, Jonathan. Hi, everyone. I hope you are all doing well. I would like to thank Dr. Gina Cody, Dennis Kelly, as well as Phil Cole for their amazing speeches. All speeches were very inspiring and interesting in their own way. Guys, this is it. 3 cases, 3 presentations, a final round, recruitment and networking events, and many games later, we conclude ENGCOM 2022 on this beautiful note. We hope you learned a lot from sponsors, the cases themselves, your coaches, and your teammates. We hope you are proud of the solutions you came up with, because the cases were not easy. They required minds that could think outside the box in order to bring forward futuristic and innovative ideas. You all successfully overcame the many challenges you all faced during these case-solving hours. And for that, let's give it up to our participants. Amazing job to all of you. You should be proud of yourself and the rest of your team. Like I mentioned during the opening ceremony, the ENGCOM executive team hopes you took advantage of this week to the fullest. Network with as many companies and students as you could. If this was your first case competition rodeo, we hope you enjoyed it and learned a lot from it. We hope you look back at this competition and only have good memories. For the past 2 years, we've been living in isolation due to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. We lost touch with the people around us. Each and every one of us has lived through very weird and difficult times. However, this week, in true ENGCOM fashion, teams from all around the world were able to come together to make this incredible competition come to life. And this takes determination and strength. I would like to thank the participating schools, Concordia University, University of Waterloo, University of Manitoba, University of Vermont, University of Calgary, Munster Technological University, Dublin City University, as well as American University in Cairo. We would like to thank the students and their coaches, the judges, composed of Concordia professors and industry professionals. I want to thank the volunteers, Alexander, Sarah, Farah, Emily, Sage, Sarushi, and Miriam. We hope you had a great time, and we could not have done it without you. And finally, I would like to thank the rest of my team, Jeffrey, Gabrielle, Joseph M., Melissa, Serena, Hugo, Jonathan, Zhao, Mara, Alexandru, Ardi, Philip, Zihao, Joseph Y, Ashley, Olivier, and Mohsen. This is how we conclude 1 year of hard and dedicated work, of back-to-back meetings, of millions of Slack messages, and many late nights. As we conclude this competition, we leave behind many good memories, many laughs, but more importantly, we leave behind a great competition that was well executed, and we also leave our acquired knowledge to next year's team. The next speaker is someone that has helped me and supported the team whenever someone was in need in the best way he knew how. Very appreciated by the team, Jeffrey, our VP executive.
Hello, everyone. I would like to congratulate all teams on an amazing week of presentations like Gabrielle just mentioned. And I truly hope that you all had fun and take away something from competing in these cases this past week. Cases that had generated so many incredible solutions from you all and solutions to challenges that industries are facing at the current moment. Let me say to you that all the scores were very close, and one day's score could have easily changed the whole standings within every single division. So take pride in that every single one of you pushed the limits of engineering and generated business solutions that really help bridge the gap between engineering and business. To our EngCom 2022 finalists, congratulations on making it to the finals, being the top team within your division. Before I hand it back, I want to thank some more people who made all this possible. Supporting the entire EngCom executive team throughout the whole process. And first, a hand to our volunteers who've been with us throughout the whole week. I hope you had an amazing time and take something away and hopefully join our team next year. I started off this competition week thanking the executive team, and truly no amount of words can describe how grateful I am to have such an amazing team that Gabrielle and I had the pleasure to work with this past year. A special thanks to our board of directors who have helped guide us throughout the whole process. And personally, every time I speak to each and every one of you, I learn something new that I try to apply to whatever I do. Myself and the EngCom executive team have worked tirelessly to organize the competition, but there is an unnamed group who allowed us to do all of this. So on behalf of the EngCom executive team, thank you to the families and significant others of the EngCom team who allow us to take on this challenge, along with all the time and effort and meetings that go along with it. You truly are the unsung heroes of EngCom, supporting us throughout this past year. Lastly, I want to thank my executive team members, starting with the VP Technologies, Alexandru Barrow. I'm not sure where to start, but I guess I'll start with this. I was in your place last year as the VP Technology. I know how hard it is, and take it from me when I say I'm so proud of what you've accomplished this past year. It was not easy in any sense, but you handled everything that was thrown at you with grace. Next, a round of applause to our operations team, Hugo and Joseph Young, who worked tirelessly putting together the schedules. I know Gabrielle and I had no worries whatsoever when it came to the organization of each day's events. And I cannot forget about our events team, Jonathan, Victoria, who put together the recruitment, volunteering activities, networking, workshops, game nights, and both ceremonies this past week. You have absolutely blown me away with your ingenuity and creativity in making these online events just that more special for all of us. Next off, I want to tip my hat to the academics team, Gabriel and Artie, who worked on the cases you saw this past week and actually worked in training the judges that have joined us, and were the ones who were able to give you the feedback for all the hard work that you put in. All of these cases were crafted beautifully thanks to you both. Next up, a thank you to our partnerships team, Myra and Mohsen, who helped expand ENGCOM's brand to so many different universities alongside our Nobi friends. I'd like to give a round of applause to our external affairs team, Melissa and Zihao, who many of our coaches and participants know by now. They were the ones who worked over this past year in bringing us all together for ENGCOM 2022. Thank you to our corporate relations team, Joseph and Philip, who helped bring the sponsors that we're able to work with this past year and bring ENGCOM to the next level from what we already had last year in ENGCOM 2021. Next, I want to give a round of applause to our marketing team, Zhao, Oliver, Ashley, who've been working behind the scenes over the past few days, making the videos you just saw and making sure that ENGCOM is known to the world. I know we all appreciate the hard work, so thank you. Lastly, there is one person I've briefly mentioned this speech so far. They are the heart of the team. They've been at the front of the pack, leading us through the uncertainty this past year. Gabrielle Gallon, ENGCOM 2022's president. I met Gabrielle before university, and 2 years ago, we began our university journeys together. After I joined ENGCOM last year, I heard that there was an opportunity in the marketing department as they were looking for a director. I knew Gabrielle was someone who would slot into the team perfectly. Gab, I'm so glad you took me up on joining this amazing group of people 2 years ago, and I've had the pleasure of seeing you grow into a stronger leader who will succeed in whatever you choose to do in life. You've been a fantastic leader to the team, but for myself, the most important thing, Gabrielle Gallon, you've been a great friend and partner for all of this. To the team, it has been an honor to serve as your executive vice president. So I'd like to ask every single person in this meeting, I would like to give a round of applause to the ENGCOM 2022 team. We did it.
Thank you, Jeff and Gab. I know I speak more than just for myself here, but everyone on the executive team, we know we could not have done this without you two. It's been a wonderful experience being under the leadership of both of two wonderful presidents. And we're just super excited to not only have you as, these two leaders, but just become friends and just, become super, super close along the different journeys and experiences that we've had faced. So following this, I believe this is where most of us have been waiting for. It is time for the awards announcement. So on behalf of the academics team, Director of Academics, Artie, you now proceed with the awards.
Thank you, Jonathan. So this is the time where you guys are all waiting for. So the first award is the Best Team Chemistry Award. And the winning team is Crosswords Consulting.
For our next award, it is the Team Spirit Award. This Team Spirit Award is presented to the team that has shown up to all events where the ENGCOM executives got a better glimpse of the personalities that form this fun and exciting team. We'd like to present this award to Innovation Team.
Thank you very much.
So the third award goes to the Best Engineering Solution, and it's presented to Crosswords Consulting.
Much.
The next one is the Best Business Solution Award, and the winning team is Crosswords Consulting.
Are you kidding?
Following one is the Most Economically Feasible Solution Award, and the winning team is CCG team. Congrats. The next one is the Most Futuristic Solution Award, and the winning team is Crosswords Consulting. Following one is the Best Public Speaker Award. And the winner is Joe Consorti. Congrats to you. So now we will be presenting the intra-division awards for each division. So the best intra-division for Division 1 for Business Solution Award goes to CCG team. For Division 2, the best solution award is Crosswords Consulting. For Division 3, the best solution award, the winning team is Ace Ventures. The next one is the Engineering Solution Award for Division 1, and it is presented to CCG team. For Division 2, the Engineering Solution Award is presented to Crosswords Consulting. For Division 3, the Engineering Solution Award is going to Scope Consulting. For Division 1, the Best Speaker Award, and the winner is Abdallah Sabah. Congratulations. For Division 2, the Best Public Speaker Award goes to Joe Consorti. And lastly, for Division 3 is the Public Speaker Award, and it goes to Graydon Benson. Congratulations.
So the following award has been given on behalf of ESP. It is the Best National Team Award, and the award goes to KTAG Consulting. The following award also has been given by ESP. It is the Best International Team Award, and the winning team is Crossroad Consulting. I will now hand it off to Gabrielle to give the podium awards.
Thank you, Myra. We have now reached the time to present our final podium for this year's ENGCOM 2022 case competition. Before that, I would like to repeat the prizes. The winners of ENGCOM 2022 will win the following. In third place, the winning team will get a total of 200 Canadian dollars. In second place, the team will win a total of 600 Canadian dollars. And in first place, the winning team of the ENGCOM 2022 case competition will win a total of 1,200 Canadian dollars. Before I give the results, I would like to let everyone know that the scores were extremely close. The judges absolutely loved your ideas, and as a result, the decisions they were made were very difficult ones. I would also like to add that the following awards are sponsored by our amazing diamond sponsor, Certification Center Canada. Without further ado, in third place, with a score of 68.62, the CCG team. Congratulations to CCG team. In second place, with a score of 76.2, Scope Consulting. Congratulations to Scope Consulting. Finally, in first place, the winners of ENGCOM 2022 case competition with a score of 76.75, Crossroads Consulting. Congratulations to Crossroads Consulting, the winners of this year's ENGCOM edition.
That's amazing. Thank you, Ken. We appreciate your
Thank
time.
you so much, all. We're so stoked. This has been an amazing experience.
Buy Bitcoin.
Ciao.
So congratulations to all of you, and congratulations to all participating teams. All the awards will be printed and mailed to you in the coming week. Okay, let's proceed to a group photo. Take this as a souvenir, something you'll be able to look back on and smile. Think about all the fun and challenging times you spent at ENGCOM 2022. Because there were quite a few in this call, we're going to be taking 2 to 3 pictures. So please get ready and smile. Okay, When I say 3, everyone freeze and smile. 1, 2, 3. Amazing. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Last one, okay? Last one. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. Thank you so much. So this is how we conclude this year's ENGCOM competition. It's quite incredible to look back and think of everything that's happened during the week. Even as an online event, we were able to make the best out of it. And I truly hope that as you move forward with your life, you only keep good memories of this past week. On behalf of the ENGCOM executive team, thank you. And we truly hope to see you next year in Montreal. Good night, everyone.
Thank you very much. Maybe see you next year. Over and out from Team Innovation. Bye-bye.
Awesome. We were really happy to have you. Hopefully we see you guys next year.
Bye, everyone. Thank you so much for participating.
Is this it?
Yeah, I think we're good to stop the live stream.